is there a difference between personal identity and soul identity? This I'm going to talk about today. When I work as a Life Between Life facilitator and member of the Michael Newton Institute, based on the work by Dr. Michael Newton, I have a work model that it is not the body that has a soul, but the soul that has a body, so to speak. And the soul changes bodies from time to time to have more experience and to learn what it is like to evolve as a person and as a soul, of course. And in the book Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, Dr. Michael Newton, he calls the present body the hosting body. And the hosting body, as Rita this time, has been a nurse and has been working as a therapist almost all her life, is a mother, and has a lot of different characteristics, of course, like everybody else. But as a soul, I have more of another identity, which is hopefully a good match. But why would my soul choose this kind of body this time as a woman living in this time? That is the question. So in every Life Between Life hypnotherapy session, we search for answers to the questions the client comes with. And one question could be, for example, why do I struggle with certain things, or is there something that holds me back? Why I cannot fulfill my deepest desire as a person, and things like that. There's so many questions clients come with. And then we always follow the Dr. Michael Newton methodology. As I'm a member of the Michael Newton Institute, I honor the way we work as members based on the tradition that Michael Newton created, which I think is great and works so well. And after 10 years doing many sessions here in Sweden, I know this method works for most people, works in the sense that they get very much out of it, as well as I did when I did my sessions over the years, my own sessions, so to speak, with colleagues. Well, anyhow, during a life in a hosting body, we have many challenges, of course. We bring with us genetics and also something called the epigenetics, which you can Google epigenetics, which is how we are created as a person, not only from the environment and the genetics, but also the way the emotional ways. It's like we enter a family as a baby, and like an example, everything is blue where we arrive, so we become blue ourselves, and we grow up believing that everything is blue, that there's no other color, and during our life we start to realize that there's red, there's white, there's yellow, there's all sorts of colors. So of course this is a metaphor, but during a Life Between Life session we realize how childhood, genetics, and also maybe family history makes us who we are. So for those who come see me, they have somehow realized that maybe my soul has an identity too, and my soul is longing to come out through this person, who is my hosting body this time. This is how it started for me, and how I found the Michael Newton Institute and had a session during my training, and realized that there's so much more to it than only this time as a person, and all my my story, so to speak, my family and everything I experienced as a child and during my life, and the story of my life, and how tragic sometimes, and why didn't I do this, and why didn't I do that, and all these things. But when I started to realize that there's something bigger, which is my eternal soul, and then I was more uplifted, because then to follow the wish of my soul, or my vocation, or my calling, rather, then I realized that everything I've done so far is according to to the will of my soul, in the sense that I do what I love, I do what gives me meaning. So the difference in my soul identity and my personal identity as Rita is quite grand, because as a person, when I get depressed or feel that there's no joy, then I always meditate, or I have many ways to then reach, if I've lost contact with my soul, which is kind of a soul loss really, and in many different shapes and form. Soul loss is something I'll speak about in another video, but soul loss is really something which is quite problematic, because then it's like state enters, which gives me a feeling that I have lost my way, or I lost the sense of purpose. And if I again then get in touch with my bigger self, so to speak, my higher self, there's many names of it, then I again my life starts to go in colors and not in black and white anymore. So I think this method is a great reminder of the difference between the hosting body and the soul identity. So during a session, we go to childhood memories, and then we go to the time in the mother's womb, and then already I start to ask the client, based on Michael Newton's method. For example, you are now being a fetus, and you're soon going to be born. Would you like to tell me if this is a easy match for you as a soul? Is this hosting body an easy match for you? A very good, of course, there's a reason why there is a match, but I'll ask the client then, is this, some people say it's an easy one. I wanted to have an easy life, and I wanted to come out as a soul this time, and not struggle too much. And some people say it's a very problematic combination, because my soul all the time wants to heal, and as a person I all the time want to do everything that sabotages this, and it's like self-sabotage in a way. And this we can then figure out later in the session, how come, why choose a body then which is self-sabotaging. It's not a self-sabotage in such, but that's how the client says often. So then this question can be figured out during the phase, as we go deeper and deeper and do the warming up for the Life Between Life session, to figure out how is the match with the hosting body this time in the present body. And for the soul, then we in a way speak with the soul already during the session. If it sounds like duality, but in a way it's only a way to help the client get in touch with this kind of difference, one could say, and why there is a frustration. And then when we go to past life memory in the session later on, and go to the death moment, I also ask the client then, how is this incarnation, I mean the past life incarnation, different from the present one? Is it similar, with similar difficulties, or is it was it easy that time and this time not? So I can give you an example from a past life experience I had. It is a session I'm also writing about in my first book, To Soul, Home and Back. I had then a life as a physician, as I was working as an obstetrician, as it's called. It's a doctor who helps deliver babies, simply said. And I was a woman then as well, and it was in the millennium 1800 and 1900. So it was not that many women working as doctors, and this was in Vienna, in the great hospital there, which still exists, but of course it changed in many ways. And I experienced a life as a workaholic, one could say, because I became a doctor, and then I was so fascinated by my work, so I had no so-called private life. I was in love once, but it was one of the other doctors in the hospital, an older one, who had a family, so he went home to his family. So I died pretty young, and I think it was some kind of tuberculosis or another lung disease. I don't know the disease really, but this is a session I did in England. It was my second Life Between Life session with my dear colleague Angela Noon, who facilitated this session for me. And the consensus for me was, or the bottom line for me was, that I don't want to repeat, my name was Helen then, I don't want to repeat in my life as Rita this kind of workaholism, which I tend to. I love my work. I always done. I have always loved what I felt a great passion for. But luckily this time I was married. I got married. It was a will of mine, and then also lived in 2 long relationships with men. I'm forever grateful to them, and I hope to meet someone to live with soon again. Now I live by myself, so I realized that this time I'm not a nun or a nurse or a doctor. I'm a nurse this time, but back in the days the nurses couldn't get married, and I as a doctor then couldn't get married. So I wish to change this trend this time. And although I love solitude a lot and I love to work, I almost have to force myself sometimes to be a super social person, and I love people and to do fun things. So I'm working on it, so to speak. But it's I think I had many lives as or many hosting bodies as monks, nuns, living in monasteries and such things. So that's why the soul is so important to me. But this incarnation, I feel my main thing is to integrate my soul as much as possible in my hosting body. And I think I got a great chance this time to work with these sessions, because this is what I help others with too. And my second book, which I called My Soul is a Diamond, Let My True Light Shine, is all about this, that I call it to come out as a soul and shine this time. And my YouTube channel is part of it, because I want to reach out to people, and I want to tell everybody that it's a great opportunity to let the soul shine through your hosting body. Whatever you love, that will make your soul shine. So that's all for today, and I will continue with my videos, recording all videos in both Swedish and English, but will not be identical, but they will be about the same subject, because I improvise, so I have no clue what I said in the Swedish video, and in the Swedish I have no clue what I was going to say in the English video. This is why I follow my soul, so it comes almost as a surprise to myself too what I'm going to say. This makes me this makes it more fun for me, and I hope it will be nice for you who listen to. Okay, see you soon. Bye bye.